Welcome to the Entrepreneur Experts Cafe, sponsored by Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel. I'm Kimberly Habscheid, your host and the creator of the Facebook community, Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel, a community by entrepreneurs, for entrepreneurs, helping entrepreneurs and experts get their business to the next level. Come join the community at www.entrepreneursrocketfuel.com/Facebook and join the conversation. Today, I am going to interview Jackie Rainforth. Jackie is an expert on sales and leadership. Welcome, Jackie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm super glad that you're here. And we're going to get into sales and leadership because it's so important for folks today, especially for entrepreneurs. But before we do that, tell us a little bit about your story. How did you become an expert at entrepreneurship and sales and leadership specifically?
Well, I started off as a sales rep and moved into management and then executive sales management. From there, it just kind of grew. And then I became, I had a near death scuba diving incident in 2016 where I received a message. And well, actually, I spent 3 days clinging to life and changed the way that I looked at my world. My own personal success was now hollow, and I needed to serve. And part of that, I look back on my career, what did I enjoy doing the most? And it was helping other people succeed, particularly in sales and leadership.
All right. And so then from that, you created a business around doing this for other people. Is that right?
I did. I used to own a sales agency that represented a large global brand, and I had a team of my own. And I know that when I learn, the old sales techniques were scripted, heavily scripted, and,
Mhm.
you need to do this, and you should do that. And I don't learn well that way. I need simple. So I created, actually, when I had my team, I was working with them and I made it simple for them. And that kind of became the basis for
Mhm.
my whole program. So a few years ago, when I had that scuba diving incident, I thought, you know what? I know that this works. And so I took it out to the corporate world, to the entrepreneurs, and it just exploded from there.
Wow. So I know a lot of entrepreneurs are really nervous about the word sales. They don't want to come
Oh,
across salesy. They don't want to sell. They want to deliver. And they just really want people to show up and to help those people and not to even care where they came from. I know that would be
exactly.
really great
Yeah.
magic if that happened. But sales is
Yeah.
a huge aspect of it, but it doesn't have to feel salesy. And that's what I really like about your approach. So tell us a little bit about your approach.
Well, my approach really it does fit with the entrepreneur because I've been there. I know what it's like. I've also, been totally stifled by fear. My very first job, it was awful. I was door knocking and next thing you know, I'm sitting on my couch. I can't move, right? Because I was just overtaken by the dejection and the rejection that was going on. And so I know how people feel. I know that people, there's that old stereotype that selling is sleazy. And I know as entrepreneurs, they're really good at what they do. They don't want to be selling, right? No one likes selling per se. So that's why what I do is I do a course. It's called Tell, Don't Sell.
Mhm.
Selling's not sleazy. And, but it's really about promoting you, your product, and your company. And that's different. It's about educating and informing, creating visions and stories, and so that they can be them naturally, authentically, genuine, without all that old selling stuff that goes along with it. Yeah.
I think entrepreneurs often make mistakes. You actually have a list of three big mistakes that entrepreneurs really make when it comes to selling when they're a non seller, and you teach non sellers how to sell. So, what are some mistakes that entrepreneurs sometimes make?
Oh, there's a few of them. The first one is they don't make an impact, right? They just, someone says, "Oh, what do you do?" And they say, "Oh, well, I do,
A lot of things, right?
yeah, I do whatever." And I'm like, no, no, no. You have to do it with impact. You've got to create differentiation. Selling has changed so much because there's so many more competitors with the explosion of technology. I mean, we used to worry about one or two guys down the street. Now you got to worry about, the click of a click on your pad and away you go. There's like umpteen zillion different competitors. So it really is about differentiating, whether it's you, your company, or your product or service, but focusing on that. The other thing, the second mistake that I see people make a lot is they talk about the features and benefits of their product without really finding out what's important to their client.
Oh, it's so true. Yeah, I've seen that. Like, oh, it's got this, and it's got this, and it's got this, and it's got this, and it's got this, and
Yeah.
you're like, okay, but so
Yeah. I call that a product dump. That's
oh
not
yeah.
good. No, that's not good. And so I teach people to be, to ask the right questions, to get down to the emotional need. What is it that they're really looking for? And only addressing that so you don't do this great big huge product dump. And of course, the biggest thing is fear. Fear holds people back, right? It's the fear of, oh, I'm selling, nobody likes selling. It's the fear of dejection, rejection. We all have these tapes in our head, the little voice at the back that says, oh, you're not good enough. You shouldn't be doing this. You don't belong here, right? We all have those little tapes. And you know what? I equate it to a shoe store. And I say, listen, when you go shopping and you go into a shoe store, do you like every pair of shoes that are in the shoe store? And people go, well, the ladies say, well, I like most of them. but,
All right.
they don't. It's, maybe you're just not that perfect pair of shoes for them. That's it.
It
Don't
doesn't
take
mean
it
that you're not
personally.
beautiful. It doesn't mean that you're not loved. It doesn't mean that your rhinestones are in the wrong place. It just means
Right.
that you're not it for them. Okay, I
You're
get
just
that.
not that shiny pair of red shoes that client happens to be looking for. And that's okay. But I think, and I know that I did this when I first started selling. I was just devastated by the rejection. I thought, how can this happen? I'm trying so hard and you just want to throw in the towel. And I think because I've been there, I get it. I know how people are feeling because I felt it. And so I really try to focus a lot on getting past some of those mental blocks that hold us back, the fear, the I'm not good enough. For women, imposter syndrome, confidence gap, that kind of stuff. Because again, I've been there, so I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if we feel like we don't have all of our ducks in a row, that, we'll go out when everything's perfect, when everything's organized. And I've often said to people, my ducks are not in a row. There might be in a huddle. If they get in a huddle, I'm good. If they're probably not in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think my ducks are always quacking at me, right? Like it's overwhelm.
That's right.
Yeah. But it's those things. And I think as entrepreneurs, people struggle because they have to do everything. And, and then you throw on technology with it. Oh my gosh. Like they already wear every single hat out there. One of the big things I think that entrepreneurs don't do as well, and I know you said three, but I'm going to throw another one in there, is that they're not allocating enough time to promoting their business.
Oh, for
That's a
sure.
big one, right? They just hope they throw mud against the wall hoping that the business is just going to come through the door because they're really good at what they do and they know their product and they know their product or service is fabulous, but you can't do that. You've actually got to go out and try and find that business and create that business.
Do you
That's
find
the
that often entrepreneurs will do like a ramp up and do a lot of sales? I need to get new business. I need to get new business. And then they get a client or two and they're
Mhm.
like, great, now I serve the client. And then 3 weeks later, they're like, I have no business. So it's sort of that feast or famine because they're rocking between sales and service so often. Do
Yeah.
you have a recommendation for a little bit of sales every day? Is it like watering the plants?
Yeah, it's yeah. Actually, you're gonna laugh. I have a little jar with money in it
Okay.
and like big chocolate money. No, it's not.
Hey!
I'll show you. You're gonna laugh. But this is my little jar with money in it.
Okay, great.
And even for me, I just put it in front of my computer at the end of the day so that next morning I know that I have to make those calls. I move it when I've made my calls and then I'm free to go. So it's kind of, we have to play games with ourselves. I know it sounds crazy, but it's the same thing even with, cold calling or reaching out to people. It's a numbers game. And so when you make it a numbers game, you go, I wonder how many no's I'm going to get today, right? And you just make it fun because that's all it is. It's a numbers game. You have to make so many calls. You're going to get, so many yeses and a whole lot of no's. It's just the way it is. But setting yourself up for success with those little reminders is a great way to really stay targeted.
That's really clever. I like that a lot. Any advice for people who are feeling stalled, like they want to be unstoppable, but they feel stalled?
Yes. It's kind of the Nike thing. Just take action.
I
I mean, you're really, it's that simple. It just baby steps. You don't have to take over the world. It's just, you know what, force yourself to just make those baby steps. If you have to reach out, if you've got a mentor, if you've got someone you can talk to, or, or start looking at reading an article, even
Mhm.
reading a book, any of those things can just spark that idea to get you going again and keep you energized so that you can keep moving forward. And I tell people this a lot. I ask them, it's one of the first things I do. What is your why?
Mm.
Why do you do what you do? And the reason I ask that is because selling is like a roller coaster. There are lots of highs, but there are lows. And when you hit those lows, you need to remember what your why is, because those are the points in time where you're thinking, I can't do this. I just can't keep going. I'm ready to throw in the towel. But if you know your why, and your why is, something like, hey, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this because I have to, whatever that why is. We all have a why, but identify it and remember it, because during those low times, you're going to need it.
I love it. Great advice. All right. Well, if people want to work with you more directly, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Oh, well, thanks. It's rainmakersgroup.ca. We're in Canada, so it's .ca, not .com. And it's Rainmakers, plural, with rainmakersgroup.ca, or check me out on linkedin.ca. I do 3 sales tips a day plus a video every week. I'm always on there. Social selling is everything these days. Fortunately for me, I've been doing it for a long time, so it's pretty easy. But yeah, reach out, rainmakersgroup.ca, or check me out on LinkedIn. I'm everywhere there.
Perfect. Thanks so much for being here with us, Jackie. We really appreciate it. Before we let you go, any final words for our crew?
Well, when I signed my book, and I've got a book called The Badass Guide to Superstar Selling,
Love it.
when oh, actually, I've got one of those too. Hang on just a sec. Here's the book.
Okay. Awesome.
When, thanks. When I sign the book, I always often, I will sign the book with dream big, push through your fear, and be badass in everything that you do.
I love it. Thanks so much for being here with us. All right, folks, that was another episode of the Entrepreneurs Experts Cafe. Jackie Rainforth, an expert in sales and leadership. You need to step forward and be badass in yourself. Join us for our next episode of Entrepreneur Experts Cafe. We'll see you then. Cheers.